I wasn't 5 minutes late. So, uh, my name is Matt Carver. I am one of the event staff at CPPS. Um, I also coach the Lucky 15s along with Ainsley. Um, Started playing paintball, same as everybody else used to play paintball. Um, Many years ago, first going to a walk on up at MPF, playing in through Diamond Wars, and then being hijacked by Ainsley to come and help him at CPPS when he bought that.
Excellent. Someone just put up on chat my mic wasn't working. I think there was an issue with the widget as well. So sorry. Yeah, as I said, technical
Okay.
issues. They will be coming up. Someone has said I have no sound. I should have sound now. Can you hear me, Matt?
I can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah. Well, I will apologise. Thank you for the intro, by the way. Everyone could hear you, but for some reason they couldn't hear
As
me.
long as everyone can hear me,
It's
that's all that
it's
matters.
fine now. They're saying sorry, everyone. Yeah, that's as I was saying before. The program had crashed once already whilst we were trying to get on. That's why we're a little bit late. We're still waiting for Dexter, who's going to be joining us a little bit later as well. So yeah, let's just close down that window. I've got about 4 monitors going on here. So yes, sorry to interrupt you, Matt. I'm right. First
That's
things
fine.
first. Live streams. Obviously, are you in charge of the live stream at the CPPS,
Um,
or you're not accepting responsibility?
like many things at CPPS, you may see me, people may see me at CPPS and say, there's the grumpy. Can we swear on this live stream? Or?
We like to keep it PG-13, so
Okay. Um, that's going to be difficult. If anyone has ever had a normal conversation with me, that they know that's going to be trouble to start. So, yeah, they may see me walking around thinking there's the grumpy
what?
person walking around. That is generally because I have so much going on in my head in the first like hour of an event. And the live stream this year, so we the way that the creative process works at CPPS, it's generally Ains will say to me, or I will say to Ains, "Have you seen that little that thing? Wouldn't it be cool to do that?" And then that then explodes into something ridiculously technical and impossible for us to do. And then Bill generally drags us back. So the live stream started off with, shall I just put one camera up on the link? And then it went to, let's have 6 cameras and a pod on top of the other pod and a full broadcast studio and and 2 cameramen and Shelley and a full studio, a full producer, and yeah, and that's pretty much the way that CPS goes. Uh, it starts off being really small, simple, and becomes insane. But the choice that we had was we used to do event videos every single event, and they were okay, they were good. But does anyone watch event videos? I don't know. Once you've seen one event video, do you carry on watching them? I
Um,
don't know. You saw,
Personally, for me, being in like media and watching a lot of videos at the start, yeah. As soon as you're seeing like half a dozen slow mo breakouts, to be honest, unless you are actually in the video, I generally skip over them and go, yeah, that's nice, but yeah, I don't know exactly
and
what
I,
you're
and I
saying.
think that was our thought really is that we've done 5 years of event videos with really good nice music and the quality is getting better and but people I think people watch them and that's it. So yeah, so we decided to not do the event videos and put that money into purchasing more cameras and converters and SDI converters. And if anyone says do a live stream with on a paintball field or on any kind of field with cameras or HDMI cables that are over 10 meters, tell them to, because it's hard. It's expensive. And my hat goes out to the guys like Matt at NXL who put that webcast on for free, and for the quality that they do it in, and the work that they're doing. So, with Amsterdam, because their equipment must just get destroyed. And to move that around constantly. I mean, ours is in one place. It's easy. It's fixable. Everything's wired in there. Everything's hardwired. And it's a whiz with power apps, etc. And but to have to move that around all the time, it's impossible. So fair play to them for that sort of technical achievement to do that all the time.
Yeah, and I think the guys don't get enough credit for when it switched from Go Sports to the free NXL webcast. They do a fantastic job considering, you're not paying for that. That's on Facebook Live.
Yeah, and our other sort of choice was between Facebook Live and Twitch. We got a fair amount of stick for just broadcasting to Twitch, but personally, I mean, I hate Facebook. I hate Facebook. I really dislike Facebook Live, and just on a sort of moral sort of standpoint, I don't particularly use Facebook. I know we're on this platform now, but
well, we're actually
don't close it down.
We're actually.
I prefer to we can go for higher def on Twitch. We can broadcast at like 1080, and I think there's a lot more. We haven't so far this year because it's been quite technically difficult to get, and quite labour intensive as well to get the live stream to where we are at the moment. But I think you can have a lot more viewer interaction on Twitch than you can on Facebook. There's so much stuff you can do with Twitch with widgets that you can have on there, that the polls and the voting and stuff like that. Not to mention that you can subscribe and we will actually get paid. But that's why we broadcast Twitch.
Yeah, we're broadcasting live at the moment straight to YouTube and Facebook. We do have a Twitch as well, although the format I'm working on, I think it can only broadcast to 2 lives at once, and I'm not sure what feedback we would get from Twitch, although we are looking at doing some gaming and bits and pieces on Twitch as well, which is kind of what the platform's really set up to do. But yeah, I think if people are interested in it, then they will seek you out and go to Twitch anyway if they want to watch CPPS live.
I mean, we can broadcast to all 3 channels really. We could broadcast to YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook at the same time, but then we sort of dilute our audience down, So I don't know. This year we need to have a think about it over the season. I think what we're going to do, what we're going to do with the live stream and where.
Sorry, you dropped out for a second there.
Which bit?
Just the end. You said you were going to broadcast to Twitch this year, and next year you were going to look at other
we'll
formats.
have a think over the close season, I think, and decide what we're going to do with the live stream and where we're going to broadcast it to. Like I say, we can broadcast to all 3 channels, so or Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Not so much YouTube actually, because I think you need 1,000 viewers, 1,000 subscribers to live stream to YouTube.
Well, to be fair, if everyone that attended the CPPS subscribed to a YouTube channel that was CPPS, I think you'd smash it straight away. And then we're in the same situation. We need 1,000 subscribers to monetize and kind of get the growth going. So if you're out there, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Little plug there. But yeah, unfortunately, you do need the people to actually. It doesn't take a lot just to kind of tick a box and ignore the notifications when they come up. It's not really going to do much to your everyday impact to your everyday life. So yeah, please just anything paintball, give it a like and help us because we do. Most of these people that are live streaming are independent and relying on what they can do with the equipment they have. And just my setup here with the 3 monitors, mic, camera, and programs and I'm already having technical difficulties, so hats off to you guys for running 6 cameras outdoors in the rain and all the problems that rain gets into everything, HDMI connections, the lot. It's yeah.
And GoPros, my God, Ainsley, don't mention GoPros and SDI HDMI converters too. Yeah,
not fun.
He may shoot you.
So, moving away from live streaming, Lucky 15s. Obviously, they had a fantastic season. Not just Lucky 15s, but Lucky 15 Mustangs. And I spoke to Nikki T just a couple of days ago. Quite a few votes for the awards coming in for the Mustangs as well. And I don't like it when people say that the Mustangs are necessarily the Lucky 15 second team, because I think in their own right they are a standalone team, really, group of guys that are going out there and competing and not looking to necessarily get into the Lucky 15s team, but a fully formed team on their own right.
I mean, the Mustangs were Ains and I's baby from what, 3, 4, 5 years ago. They were Lucky 15s too originally, and then we changed it to the Mustangs. But our whole ethos around that team was to pick young players. They were our feeder team for the first team, essentially. That's what they were. They were the future of the first team. You have paintballs, like you have players commit and then they don't commit, and they don't show. And then if you go with a squad of 6 or 7 players and you think you've got the first team and you don't have the second team, the standard that we play at, then you're screwed, essentially. This year, for instance, we lost players out of the first team, a couple of weeks before the first event. If we didn't have the Mustangs as they were, then that we wouldn't have had a first team. We wouldn't have played DPL, and we would not have played. There'll be two teams in. The Mustangs was Enzo and I a little baby, really. Me personally, I mean the love, or not the love, it's the wrong word, the emotion that we see when we see that team winning and podiuming, and the young guys that they were, because we've had those guys since Alex, let's say, for instance, since he was 13, Mason since he was 14, Rob Williams has been in the team since he was 11, 12. To watch those guys go from wherever we plucked them from, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and then when they first turn up at training and you see them against the first team, playing against the first team, and they're losing, or watch them develop right away through, almost through to adulthood. Really, it's incredible. And me personally, that the achievements of the first team, don't get me wrong, they are amazing, but they are all seasoned top players, and but the achievements of the Mustangs, they're at the point now where they are their own team. We could call them something completely different, and they would still be the second best team in the country.
Yeah, and they proved
it. And
it's
been like that for 2 years now. They podiumed every single event this year.
Yeah. And obviously, DPL, the guys have been competing out there. How have they been getting on in the European circuit?
So, yes, the DPL, wow. So, obviously, we were promoted to pro last year from SPL due to, everyone knows the reasons why. In Excel this year they only had two paint suppliers, 2 paint sponsors. GI weren't one of those sponsors. Our relationship with GI Sports goes back, I don't know, 8, 9 years, 10 years, from when we very first started playing. Ains started playing at Millennium. So there was no way we were going to drop that kind of relationship to go and shoot either Top or GI. It just didn't feel right. So we chose not to take that pro spot. And then we had the offer from DPL, from Manfred, obviously, who's sadly not with us. And the DPL, It's run differently from CPBS to the NXL. So they each event is not its own separate event, such as the Junior Sports Cup, the Kids Open, or the whatever HR Field. It's more like a sort of Champions League where you play, every event, you play 28 games, and then your points just total up, and it's just a league table. So it's whoever's got the points at the end of the season. The DPL is only on a Sunday, but you've got weekend meets, which means we can literally get on a plane on Saturday. We can fly to Frankfurt. We can drive to Solms. We can play Sunday. Sometimes train on Saturday, but we can play Sunday and we can get a plane straight back home. So no one has to only have any time off work. No one, the hotels are shorter. Whereas NXL, we would be typically travelling out on Wednesday and flying on a Sunday or Monday. So it's a different. So the DPL this year it's all at Solms. If for anybody who doesn't know, she's about 50 minutes away from Frankfurt. It's a full Astro field. They're incredibly professional. They were incredibly welcoming. I don't think they had much interference or much pushback from a British team going over there to play in the German league. And the teams out there, the competition-wise, I think it's slightly higher than CPS Elite in that there are obviously there's Breakout Spa, there's Coming At You, there's Merckx, which is the Brundakov, Smoke Trough plays for the Breakout out there. It's Hurricanes, obviously. There's 4 or 5 top grade teams. But the only problem is the weather, which is if everyone's ever been to Solms, it can be 30 degrees like half a mile down the road. In Solms, it's pouring down.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's good.
Well, we've had a good season for weather this year. We're not going to dwell on that too much, but yeah.
I mean, CPPS, people do mention about CPPS and rain, but I mean, I can't remember the last time, we really, really, really rained, and we had an absolute wet. We've been lucky, considering when we hold the events, which is, end of September and April. I think it's too bad. And let's face it, if you can't play paintball in the rain in the UK, then
you're not playing
paintball's not for you.
Well, it can't be any worse than NXL Amsterdam a couple of weekends ago. So
yeah, thank God I didn't go.
That looked muddy. And so moving on to NXL, are the Luckies going to be entering next year, or we not got any decision? But basically, my question is now you've got the American teams not necessarily competing in the European league, opening up more spots in pro, knocking off the regular 3. Obviously Russian Legion will be playing in the States, so you've got Impact, Legion, Heat.
Well,
not going to be, apparently, so I've heard that Russian Legion will be playing in the States rather than the European league, which is a bit upsetting, but I haven't confirmed that 100%, but that is what I have heard, unless of course they've got a second team. I can backtrack, and I will. Unless, of course, they've got a second team which will be entering into the European circuit with maybe one pro that's competing in both. I don't know. I mean, that will be forthcoming, I'm sure, from the Russian Legion once they've competed in World Cup at the end of this year. But yeah, are Luckies looking to do that, or are they going to carry on DPL, or no decision being made as yet?
I may need to search Facebook to see what the actual what has been put out already. But all I'll say is maybe.
Maybe. Okay. We've got
so that pro spot's open for us, and whether we take it or not. I mean, let's face it. At the moment, NXL. I mean, people criticise the NXL about their lack of information release, and I don't know if the general public seems whether they think that the NXL sort of tell everybody else, and everybody else knows, and no, don't announce it. Trust me, they don't. We have no idea what the dates are, where the events are. I don't think they even know. The only thing we know at the moment is that it's split into two conferences. So, like, as you said, it's the European Conference, the American Conference, and the rules are that they can only one player can only roster across here and vice versa. But can one player roster per event, or can one player roster per season? I don't know. So round one, as you just said, so if Russian Legion play our second team in, well, Malloy play the first event, and then Dales play the second event. I don't. So I don't think. I don't know if I haven't read rules to see whether that roster is locked at the very start. Only one pro can be in it, or whether it moves from event to event. I do not know.
Nobody knows.
But that's what is there, and to be honest, people say that the whole reason why they're doing it. I don't know. Maybe the Europeans are fed up with heat and impact. I don't know. There's two schools of thought, isn't there? You drag the level of European paintball up by constantly playing against the better teams, or do you allow the European scene to settle slightly, actually win some goddamn prize money for us to change, and maybe invest that money back into the team, and to develop that way and get better. It's not always all about just playing against just a game. The gap is so big that between those two top teams, between let's say Legion, Impact and Heat, the gap is so big. I don't think playing against them and getting destroyed 5-0 every single game is somehow going to make us better players. Right? Maybe playing against a slightly lesser competition and actually winning, getting that confidence in winning, and maybe making a Sunday, or maybe making a podium and getting a check. Maybe that for a couple of years will actually drag the level of Europe. Who knows? No one knows. Anyone that says that they know is
well, I think at least the NXL, I believe they have listened to the European players, and I think this is a reaction to listening to them saying that, yeah, we are kind of a little bit fed up with the North American teams coming in and beating us, and obviously Russian Legion included in that bracket as well. And there was a certain amount over the last 2 years as well of American semi-pro teams coming and playing lower divisions and obviously winning those titles as well. I won't mention any team names, but yeah, you know who you are.
Well, I mean, for the 3 seasons that we played in SPL, so the first season we played Russian Legion and they won the division. I mean, actually, the season before that, Firm were playing in the scene that the year they got promoted. They were playing against Scorpions, which is basically Joy. And then the year after that, we were in SPL and we played against Russian Legion final at Campaign Cup. And then so we had to play those the season, along with all the other ringers that you get into. Well, not ringers, we tripped away. And then the second year, we played Expendables, which is Dynasty, essentially.
Basically.
And so we had them in our division, which they absolutely destroyed. I mean, we were actually only one of 2 teams that beat Expendables that year. We beat them in the prelims in Rouget, and then they beat us in the final in overtime. And I think RMG might beat them as well. But yeah, and then last year you've got Hurricanes, and you've got the likes of Archie and people like that playing in SPL. It's happened for years. I mean, it's not new. And will the conference thing change that? Because are the rules for SPL going to be the same, or are you just going to find all the pros that can't get into the pro division because of conference? SPL, I don't know.
Well, we'll just have to wait to see what NXL come out with, hopefully, after World Cup, end of this year. Hopefully they get the locations, times and everything in due time, because they have been a little bit slow on things, and that has been one criticism. But yeah, I mean, it's a big job to put on those events anyway.
I mean, just sorry to interrupt, but just on that, it shouldn't happen because there are already rules in SPL regarding the amount of pro players you can have. And the reason last year why there were so many pro players in SPL is because they had no rankings. So they had no ranking points. So if you go onto PPL, if you go onto Paintball, you can see the rankings for all of the players. The reason why that they could get away with playing that division, so many in per team, was because they had rankings. They started from scratch.
Yeah, it'll also be interesting to see whether GI and Valken are back into the vending area for next year's NXL. Obviously, that's going to have an impact as well on teams that are supported by those paint manufacturers. Yeah. So, yeah. Moving on. Do you know of any rule? Do you know of any rule changes, bunker upgrades, or anything coming up for next year? Anything? No.
No, I wouldn't have thought they would upgrade the bunkers, but so this is the first season. Is the first season without the W or the second?
First season without the W. They introduced the wings, didn't they? This year.
Yes, I mean I can't see them changing that this year. I mean I'll say that now they probably don't. Well, I hope to God they don't. Otherwise, Ains and Deal will have a mental breakdown having to buy 5-6 fields worth of bunkers again at like €1,000. It's fine. So the upgrade. I miss the W. I like the W.
I like the M
from the 15s. He did not like the W, but because that's the only thing he ever did was because he was 5 or whatever, and he could just stand up there. So that guy has last year in the 2018 season had so many. I've never seen a player be mugged so many times than Matt G that season. I actually felt sorry for him.
I still say bring back the M, but that's just me.
I would agree, but for the fact that have you ever tried to put one up when it's low wind, 30-mile-an-hour wind?
I've put one up on my own before, not in 30-mile-an-hour winds, but I've now got it down pat how to put up an M on your own, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
Or
it's not fun, and certainly on the Astro it wouldn't work because there's no way that thing would stay up on the Astro.
No.
There's no way we're pegging bunkers into that Astro. So the other field would be fine, but we wouldn't.
Yeah, not suitable for Astro at all. Right, okay. Moving on. We've been on for half an hour already. We spoke to Nicky T, say a couple of days ago on the test stream, just talking about the apparent dip in numbers. Although from on paper, looking at the amount of individual players attending the CPPS. Do you see that as a trend in tournament? Do you see a drop-off in teams, or is it just as strong as it always has been and we're all just flapping for no reason?
I think that Ains is really the person that you would need to speak to. But I think there's been a slight dip. But sorry. Oh, you were reverbing. Sorry. There might have been a slight dip, but I don't think there's been a massive drop off. But I really don't have any answers as to how to get players into football. Certainly not into tournament. I mean, our pricing model, it cannot be any cheaper. Players, I think do appreciate that, but I think they do realise that CPPS, it's built for a value for money, and like I say, Ains would be the person to speak to because he obviously that's his maybe with the finances, but I don't think we could get any cheaper, certainly, and getting more players into paintball. Paintfest Diamond Wars has just Kerry announced last week, didn't she, that has just stopped. There's no Paintfest next year. I don't know the reasons for that, but I know numbers at Diamond Wars have dropped off. I mean, I came into paintball through War-Cons and Diamond Wars especially. I played in the first season of Diamond Wars right away through to like the 100th season religiously, and you see the numbers going down. I think, but is that, I don't know. Do the players come to start at paintball? And do they start as a walk-on today? How do you get those players playing for paintball? How do you move those players, the guys that come on for, and then move them on to buying them on stuff, and then playing scenario or playing tournament? How do you get that to happen? Is the pricing model right? You're a site owner. I mean, is the pricing model right for people coming to play paintball? I mean, I don't know who came up with the pricing model for rental sites of everything is free, but 100 paintballs is 20 quid. I don't know. I don't know who came up with that pricing, but. If I was, well, I am a father, but if my child went to a paintball site and I gave them 50 quid for a day out, and then at 12 o'clock it's coming back to me for another 50 quid, I obviously, £100 for a day in the woods shooting, it's not going to happen. People are not going to come back.
Well, I can tell you my site's not quite that expensive. If it was, yeah.
Yeah, I was plucking the numbers out there, but you see what I mean, and obviously I know that figure of so many paintballs for families, everything is built into that figure. But I don't know if that pricing is the reason why more people don't come back. I mean, I would like to think this is pure like pie in the sky, because, like I say, I am not that site you are, but I don't know. I would rather charge someone 50 quid and just give them 2 pods of paint per game or 3 pods of paint per game, and allow them just to go and shoot all that to their heart's content, all day, rather than giving them everything for free and then charging them an extortionate amount of money for paint.
I think that's more the, dare I mention it, Delta Force IPG method of getting you in on a fabulous bargain that's going to be only £4 per child, and then be hit by sort of £10 100 at some sites when you get there, and then you realise that you got to spend all that money. I mean, as a small independent site, we're completely upfront, and we say that you're going to need £35-40 for a full day worth of paintball. You don't have to stay there all day. You can just do a couple of hours, you can go. But one thing we try and do is, obviously I've got the magazine, I try and leave a few magazines around, people pick it up, and if people do ask, I don't gloss over it. I say you can pick up a box of paint between £25, £35, £45 depending on what you want to use, but your kit is as much as you want to spend. You can spend up to £1,000. It's like any kind of sport, isn't it? You can budget, you can buy second hand, or you can buy brand new. But I would say there's only a small percentage of the people that go to those events that probably there for a birthday party or stag group will actually go, oh, I want to take this up as a sport. But it's capturing that small percent that do that. And it's just producing content online. It's people using Google and YouTube and trying to find out how to get into it. But certainly I think some sites maybe used to, maybe not so much anymore, but they used to be scared to tell their customers that you can buy a box of paint for, £35, because the customer goes, oh my God, I'm being ripped off. And you're like, well, I always use the analogy, a potato's 4p. You don't nip behind the chip fryer and go, can I just chuck my own potato in there, please? Use your facilities, and I'll not paying £4 for chips.
No, of course, and everyone knows that that's the pricing structure. It's just I don't know. Does that put people off? I do not know.
I don't think it puts people off rental paintball, because people know the price, and people that shop around, they're not interested in paintball. They want a good day with their mates, stag do, shoot up their mates, go home, and that's all they think about paintball.
Well, if you're purely focusing paintball towards stag weekends, well then is that the right clientele to that you in paintball? It's just that you're going to cop the odd stag person.
From my own personal dealings with years of running sites, yeah, you maybe get 5% of people that kind of come up to you afterwards, or kind of go, hey, I really enjoyed this. Where can I buy a gun? And then it's the opportunity for the staff to kind of step in and go, speak to him over there. He plays, a tournament, and you can just chat to people. I mean, Facebook is so huge now, social media, YouTube. You just go Google CPPS paintball. That's all they need to know. They've got a phone in front of them and just go Google it. Off you go. If they want to find the information, it is there. It just takes a marshal at a site or a site owner to point them in that direction, I think.
So do you not think that it's that the rise of airsoft, is it's a hell of a lot cheaper. The guns are a hell of a lot cooler. It doesn't hurt like crap when you get shot. You don't come home with a massive welt. Do you not think that balance between paintball and airsoft is like airsoft is increasing and paintball is decreasing? Indeed.
Oh, undoubtedly, there are airsofters outnumber paintballers 10-1 easily. You look at some of the games that airsoft out there, they're getting in 100 people at a walk on, whereas paintball sometimes struggling with 30. And yeah, the cost factor does come into that. Airsoft just much cheaper, and for those guys that want the real deal simulation, all the guns can weigh the right amount, or heaviness and the stuff like that, and they look the real deal. Our kind of answer to that, I suppose, is 50 cal. The fact that a lot of sites now are shooting 50 cal, which hurts a little bit less impact, and and you got MagFed as well, which is gaining popularity, which is again cutting down the amount of paint people are using. So we will lose people to airsoft, but like I was saying to Nicky T the other day as well, hopefully that barrier of MagFed for those guys that want that realistic military kind of feel is kind of there, to kind of capture those people from going full airsoft. But I've tried airsoft. It wasn't to my liking particularly. Just didn't click with me. I just preferred paintball. I don't know what it is. I got no real answer to that. It's just I just stick with it basically. So yeah.
Well, where are the next Lucky 15s players coming from? That's what I need to know.
Well, this is the issue. We need to get more people into it, and part of what we're trying to do is with the magazine, we're trying to get that into the shops. There's 2 airsoft magazines available nationally. There's no paintball magazine at all. I know a lot of people don't read magazines. It's all online. And again, we're trying to develop our website and YouTube channel and trying to get more content out there as well. But again, it's expensive to do, as you know. Just live streaming something costs... I mean, off the top of my head, you must have invested thousands of pounds into the CPPS live stream to get that going.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, just yeah,
and
they'll have invested.
And for the actual physical money that's come back in from that is
zero.
But you're reaching more people. You're promoting the sport, and you're getting out there. And unfortunately, you have to do all of this work, all of this investment for zero financial return to hopefully maintain the sport and kind of, I hate to use the phrase grow the sport because I think it's become a bit of a cliche and it's become a bit of a meme, but yeah, we need to kind of grow it and put the foundations down to really push it forward. That's just my feeling anyway.
Well,
talking out my ass.
Well, certainly, and as well, you forget. Sorry, Twiz will kill me if I don't mention the Woodland Masters. Obviously, the work that they do. Getting guys in and. That whole sort of almost reinvention of the sort of 5-man tournament in the woods sort of thing, where it was, everyone tells me where it started. But what I think is missing is, God, I really don't want to go down this road, but the years of a certain paintball promoter that put on certain games.
Oh, Shoreline. Okay, yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay. I mean, if you think like the Super Six, when that was on, those were some great paintball
They were
games.
fantastic.
Whether it be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Stargate, or they were amazing. When in that first initial season,
Yeah,
they were amazing games.
I
They were
completely
well
agree.
designed. They were well designed. They were well attended. The teams got into it, and I played in all of those games.
As did I, yeah.
For that season. So it just seems that is, I don't know. I hate to tread on the likes of Jed and Jimmy are probably waiting outside the door to beat me up right now. But it seems to be like those sort of just, I don't know, hyper excitement around those games just doesn't really seem to be there anymore. I'm not sure why. I don't know why the scenario guys. I include myself in that as well. Well, me and Ains don't play tournament paintball, or anybody else. We don't play tournament paintball anymore. The fun that we would get is going out into the woods and shooting people. And to be brutally honest, there just isn't really anything. Hasn't been anything the last couple of years that I would say, wow, I'm going to go to that.
I think there's a few...
I think the last big game that I went to was maybe the second Tipman Challenge at Sennybridge that was there. I think that's the last one that I went to. And, when you turn up on site and the campsite is on a massive hill and you say, when we're going to camp, and they say over there, over the wall, it says like field. There's nothing, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of the reason Scenario has you're not getting that excitement from the guys is several of the guys that were playing 10 years ago have now retired. They don't play anymore. Part of it is the downfall of forums and the rise of Facebook and social media. You've got even though we've got social media where people can connect, people can interact more freely. It's not regulated. It's not, everyone's fractured into their own little groups and cliques where they only do this or they only do that. And you go back to when there was only maybe 3 maximum forums out there dedicated to paintball. You had Paintball, UK Scenario, and there was another one. I can't remember what it was called. But, people would go onto there for the information for those games. There weren't so many games around, so people would go to, say, 6 games a year because that's what they could afford for the scenario side of things. And now it's like there's 2 games on a month, and it's kind of oversaturated. And yeah, it's difficult to kind of get your claws into a series or a game or attend any more than 3 games a year. And again, it's down to the fact that people don't have that disposable income as much as they did, say, 10 years ago. I think it's a factor of several different things, but I do agree with you. The first Super 6 series was a fantastic series of games. Whatever you say about Shoreline, and like I said, you didn't want to go down that road, but we're going there. Whatever you said, they did some good in the beginning for the sport, especially Scenario. And yeah, it was fantastic for those few years that it happened. Unfortunately, again, we're not going to get into this, but for one reason or another, it kind of declined, and we find ourselves in the situation we are now where games like Paintfest that have been around for years have decided to call it a day, and Clash of Clans, it was either this weekend or last weekend, again, campaign, decided not to go ahead, even though there's lots of chatter online about the game. They just didn't have the people booking in, they didn't have the numbers, so they just decided to go, do you know what, we've already turned away rental customers, but we're going to cancel it now and take 25 rental customers instead of 25 walk-oners, because that's the reality of it.
And people do say to us, and they do say to Ainsville, that we should put on a woodland event, just because of I know we're tournament based, but just because of the organisational sort of level that we have, and I'm pretty damn sure we could find a really good woods ball event, but if no one's going to attend, and people can't use the if you build it will come sort of metaphor, because frankly that does not pay the mortgage. So if the excitement was out there for a a woodland event that we could hold, then we would do it, and it would be amazing because the ideas that Ains and Dill have is damn good. It's just if no one's going to turn up, then what's the point?
It's a risk. Well, we took the risk at Operation Medusa, which we did in Greece, which got good numbers and then dwindled and then good numbers again. But that's difficult to kind of organise an international event like that. And then Red versus Blues, we did our first one this year. Again, from the chatter online, we were expecting sort of hundreds of people, and we got just about pipped 80. Which is fine. We weren't expecting hundreds of people to flood through the door on the first event. But yeah, if you're relying on that to pay your mortgage, no, it's just not going to happen. It's just you got to keep plugging away for a couple of years before people kind of go, oh yeah, we'll might toddle along to that. But who's going to wait 2-3 years for a game to kind of get a grip in the audience before it starts making money? It's just not. It's not a sound investment. And it's only crazy people like me that seem to want to do that.
But 80 people for a scenario event for a first event, that's pretty good, surely.
Yeah, we were happy with it. We had to restrict the size of the field, and we had to tweak it a little bit last minute, which isn't ideal. But I think the guys had a good laugh. No one screamed at us anyway, so that's always good. Right, we've got about 10 minutes left with you before before I try and contact Dexter and try and set up the Skype.
We're not having a three-way then.
We'll see if we can get a three-way going. Not a sentence I thought I'd be saying tonight, but yeah, we'll see if we can. Right, we're going to rattle through awards nominations. I know you haven't prepared for this at all. We're going to start off with scenario, then we'll hit on to airball and then woodsball. Any particular segment you don't want to nominate or don't know anything about, or are you just going to...
I mean, I have not been to a scenario event this year, so if you were to ask me who the young scenario player is, I don't know. Best game, whoever's going to pay me the most, I don't know. North v South, yeah, was it good?
Yeah, it was good, yeah. Actually, I think North versus South this year, out of the past 3 years I've been to, there seemed to be a little bit more hype and chatter and kind of good vibes around it. I think the weather helped, having decent weather. Sorry, can you hear my dog chewing its bone behind me?
No.
It's really distracting me. I do have a dog. It's not fake like Dexter's. So yeah, North versus South was a good game. So okay, I'm going to ignore the scenario side of things and we'll jump straight onto straight onto tournament. So Amanda's trying to vacate the dog, but it's really angry that she's taking its bone away. Now they're playing tug of war. Right, that's not very professional. Right, pro team of the year. Sorry, it's just dog's being dragged out the room. Sorry, pro team of the year.
So pro team of the year.
Well, you can say lucky 15s.
I mean, what road do I go down? I mean, do I go down the team that has had 3 firsts and 2 seconds in elite this year?
Well, this is what I said to Nikki T. I said we already know who the CPPS champions are. We already know technically the best teams, because they've had their awards, they've had their podiums. We can see the stats.
Mm-hmm.
That's what differentiates woodsball and airball from scenario. It's the fact that you can actually go, right, this team against this team, who's the best team? What I'm trying to get out of the pro team of the year is probably teams that kind of push through against odds. Encourage more people into the sport, are always there, attending lots of events, that kind of thing, really.
So, Jesus. I watched last night, and one thing I would say, I disagree with Nicky T about, he said the lucky 15 Mustangs. Now, the one reason why I wouldn't pick Mustangs is because they didn't hit the target that Ains and I set out for them at the start of the year, which was to win 2 events. They only won 1. So, as harsh as that may sound, and for the level that we try and push them to, they only won the last event. They always win the last event, and let's face it, Mustangs weren't the Mustangs at the last event. So, um, yeah, no, I wouldn't pick the Mustangs. The one team that there's a couple. If you go through the whole of elite, um, teams that the team that has honestly impressed me the most this year is Warped.
Okay.
To go from and some people would say Jags. Jags have raised their consistency, so they certainly have been playing a higher standard of handball. But I think Jags always had it in them. They just had to have someone to get it out of them. You know? Whereas Warped have gone from last year, flirting with relegation and being relegated, and flirting with relegation constantly, to being back in a league and actually winning games against established teams. So if you want, they're not. It's difficult. Obviously, the 15s have lost 2 paintball games all year. You know, inside DP. In fact, when I've been there and I've been coaching them, I didn't lose a game in DPL. Just point that out there. And we lost against in the final against Warped at the 1-1 at the first event, and then we lost against the Dogstangs at the last event. You know, so that kind of consistency, I don't think you can vote against. You know, but for what was the second? Is it newcomer? Is it?
You got pro team, divisional team, newcomer team. So.
Okay, well in that case, we'll have to look at 15s with Warped as a really sort of special mention.
Okay, Warped, lucky 15s. All right, and Jag's got a mention as well.
The shit that I am gonna get on Facebook.
Right, divisional team of the year, which does cover quite a span. I didn't really want to go kind of Div 1, Div 2, Div 3, Div 4, Div 5, you know, because it's just going to take too long. So kind of divisional team of the year that's really kind of been event improving, again, attending events, you know, and just breaking out really and kind of proving themselves.
There's a lot of love for Stoke Quest I see on Facebook, and they've been pretty consistent. But I'll be honest, they've been pretty consistent in the other divisions that they've played. You know, for quite some time, and they're quite an established team. I like watching underdogs in Division 2. I think they're a pretty cool team. You know, they go about their business quite quietly. They are underdogs. You know, not many people sort of they don't shout it from the rooftops. You know, and they're consistent. You know, they've podiumed every single event. Well, no, not every single event. Yeah, they're around 3. I mean, Sandbaggers are just doing what the Sandbaggers do in every division. Gang, you know, getting promoted at Division 1. I mean, Division 1 is is an incredibly hard division to get out. Raiders, if you want to think about improvement, you know, Raiders in Division 1 have improved a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Thunderducks are just doing what Thunderducks do. You look at Loki's winning that division as well. They're pretty consistent all year. So, you know, it's there's CPPS in the lower divisions. People may think that at CPPS that it's all about elite. It certainly is not. And I spend more of my time watching the divisional games than I do than do the elite game. Mainly because Ains and I don't go in the pits when the 15s are playing, because of our association with it. We've outside of the pits here on the mound, so that we can't get accused of influencing refs, etc.
Yeah.
Not that we would. I mean, if you want to look at the facts, 15s are one of the most penalised teams in the division. And if anyone wants the facts on flags being thrown, painful performance, Ash, I have the figures for you.
Excellent. I wonder how
anyway,
many
sorry,
George threw.
Yeah, so I mean, we love watching the divisional guys and the divisional paintball. It's our bread and butter.
Yeah. So have you got an answer for that?
What was the question?
Divisional team of the year. Well, you said underdogs first.
Um, yeah, us say underdogs. Yeah.
I mean, underdogs have been consistently. They've really worked their way up through the ranks. They're all homegrown boys. They don't really ring us as such, and they got
Mm-hmm.
some brutal players in there. And Jason Friend has also taken them kind of on as coach this year, and they've really they deserve that Div 1 spot 100%. And I follow them because obviously I take pictures of them throughout the year, and yeah, I've just seen the team grow and grow, and not just CPPS but Woods Ball as well, and they attend events like all over the world, scenario events, so they're just everywhere. So yeah, I'll put down underdogs for that one. Newcomer team of the year. Team that's formed this year has improved. I mean, I've got a couple of teams I know in my head for newcomer teams that I think would be good. But yeah, anyone that springs to your mind?
Um, I mean, if you're looking into breakout, I mean, would you class? Are you classing Nerf herders as a breakthrough team? Those guys are, they've been reasonably consistent in breakout.
Well,
Got
Nerf
nice
Nerf Herders
jerseys.
only really got. They were in last year, but they only
Mm-hmm.
really got their jerseys together and kind of formed the main core of the team this year. So yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
could be considered as a kind of newcomer team, although they have been around partway through last season as well. Um,
I mean, Midland Prevail coming into straight into Div 5 again.
yep.
Reasonably. Well, I say consistent, but not necessarily consistently podiuming, but consistent.
Oh no, they don't. They don't have to consistently. I mean, just for example, the nomination came through for the South Coast Reapers, who entered this year, and again, I think they only got one podium this year, but event on event, they have improved their standing from kind of bottom to mid-table to top table to podium. And for a newcomer
Mm-hmm.
team, fresh to the tournament scene, that's quite impressive to improve, event on event and end up podium on the last event of the year, which is good to see.
I mean, I'll probably get slated for not mentioning every single team in breaking and breakout that's been, but the Morningwood guys that are in that division to watch them sort of develop. I mean, they can't can anyone that's been at captain's meeting will appreciate that. Sorry, they can't count, but they're pretty consistently, good at paint. No, they've got Martin paying for them. But putting that aside, yeah, they're pretty consistent. Oh, and Trash Pandas as well.
Trash
They're
Pandas, yeah.
relatively new. So, Trash Pandas, so and they've been really consistent since then.
And you got London
Gone great.
Velocity and London Voltage, I believe, that have come in this year.
Yes, yeah, yep,
So plenty
yeah.
to choose from. Anyone stick out for you, or you're gonna just nominate every single
Uh,
team you can think of? God, it's like trying to draw
should we
blood from
go
a
with?
stone.
Sorry, let's go with Midland Prevail simply because they're from the Midlands.
Okay. Right, we'll run through the last. We're a few minutes over time, so we're going to run through the next ones fairly
Dex, who
quickly.
cares? It's only Dex. He's only going to come and talk about Woodland shit.
Yeah, that's true. Rising Star Award. Any one particular player that kind of shone through? Bearing in mind we still got male player, female player, and young player to go through as well.
Rising Star. Um, shit. This is where I'm going to mention about 10 players, and you're going to shout at me again.
Go on.
Right. So I, bearing in mind with the level that I'm at and that we watch, if I don't mention Lewis from being a first season at Innovate and well, basically stepping up to the first team in DPL and the level that he has produced in one season, um, yeah, I would have to name him. I think he's not going to be my young player of the year.
Okay, so that's your Rising Star. Male player of the year.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, this is impossible. I did have these written down, but it's a toss up between see the things that I see behind the scenes. I could either pick two things. Okay, I could pick two people. I could either pick Jim McGowan, he's just an absolute beast. And this season, he has done so much stuff behind the scenes inside the 15s. I have pretty much taken a step back this year because I had a baby in March. So this year, I have not particularly been at the trainings. Most of the trainings sort of sessions. And Jim has just taken that and ran with it. And he literally does everything behind the scenes. That's this year with all of the training when it comes to the other stuff. So, but if I'm just going to go for James Green. I think that the kid would run through a double glazed window if I asked him to.
Fair enough. We'll have to try that. Try that in the pub next CPPS. Female Player of the Year.
Ooh. It's a toss up between, I think, the two people that are playing at that level, which is it's either going to be Kelsey or it's going to be Lucy and Steve. So it's a toss up between those two. I really couldn't choose between them. Lucy's been killing it in Division 1 all season with the baggers. And Kelsey's just stepped into 1-for-1 and been on elite all season. So, I can't split them.
And young Player of the Year, under 16 or under 16 for the majority of this year anyway.
Under 16, really?
Anyone you got your eye on?
This is the other reason why we spend so much time. Well, this is the other reason why we spend so much time down on the divisional fields. It's basically spying so we can see who's coming up. But does it have to be under 16?
Yeah, 17, 16. Really has to be under 16. Yeah. That's the criteria for the young player. They have to be young.
Jesse, I'm not sure on the ages because I'm not stalked them. But you sort of look at a lot of the young guys that are in SAD at the moment. I mean, when young boys come to us and they message the team page, pretty much SAD is where we sort of send them. But SAD have got an amazing system. They're an amazing club, and they groom all these young kids ready for us to snap on.
Yeah, snipe from their own team. Yes.
But you've got the likes of like Henry Johnson and and Mr.
Oh, trust me. Sorry, you dropped out for a minute there. Your mic's failing on us.
On the divisional fields. If people think that we're not watching them, then trust me, they're wrong. We watch so much paintball on the divisional field. And from my previous position, to be able to stand there next to the pod and tell everyone to get lost and just stand there and watch paintball, that's one of the main reasons why we're down there, is because we're just scouting young kids.
Fair enough.
Ready for to mold into the future paintballers. I haven't given you a name again, I'm aware of it.
No, you haven't given me a name at all.
I'm not going to. The one young-ish person I would pick would probably be, but his head is so big already that
Sorry, who was that? You dropped out for a minute.
It's Tom Carroll.
Okay.
His head is so big already that if I was to nominate him, he wouldn't be able to get out the door.
Fair enough. I'm just looking through. There's no real questions for you, unfortunately. No one abusing you.
To answer that one from Rexy.
Yeah, how would someone
get? If you want to get into tournament reffing, if you want to get into paintball reffing, message Ainsley Adderley.
Yeah.
We are, to say that we are desperate for refs would be an understatement. We are desperate. If we don't stop the decline in referees leaving the game, then there will be a reduction in tournament paintball next year.
again, I think we discussed with Nikki T a couple of nights ago. It's basically the CPPS has the funding there for the refs. It's everyone. If anyone goes to the CPPS and says, "Oh, there's not enough refs on the field," it's not through lack of trying. It's not through any of the organisers going, "Oh, we're only going to put this many refs on this team or this field to save money." It's not that at all. The cash is there to pay the refs to attend. You just need more people to step forward and decide that they want to be a ref for a season or
Absolutely, it's not down to us being reducing the amount of refs on the field to save money. You know, the two biggest outlays for us for events are, you know, and we provide hotel rooms, we provide meals, we provide breakfast, we provide a wage. You know, we have carpools for people that can't, you know, that can't make it. It's fuel. It cannot be understated. The lack of tournament referees is that, in my mind, is the one thing, the single one thing that is going to I would kill the sport. Is going to, but it's going to reduce our ability to put up events.
Yeah. Right.
So you can message Pete Marsh. You can message. I message Kev Hansen. That's absolutely useless. So either Pete Marsh or Hansen.
Okay. Yeah, and they're fairly easy to find, or just message the CPPS page on Facebook, or even drop them an email.
And don't think that. Sorry, to interrupt. And don't think that. That if you've never ref tournaments before, or if you work at a site, if you're a marshal on a site, if you just play paintball on a Saturday and you want to ref on a Sunday, just get in touch.
I know that there are other bonuses as well with the UK refs as well. If you stand out as a ref within that community and you stick with it, those guys go out to America. They ref top level and divisional level American events as well. So there is that opportunity if you really want to take it a step further and get involved with it. And I think they got a great community there as well of guys that kind of support each other. And just following the UK refs page, they look like they have a laugh when they're out there as well. So it's not all.
I think is there 3 or 4 UK refs on the pro field? There's Marsh, there's Gilly, there's Luke. I know that Coonsy goes out there as well.
Andy Martin.
And Hans as well. Yeah. So those guys, they're reffing at the highest level.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna. What I'm gonna do? If you stay there, don't go anywhere. Dexter, are you online? Is he in the chat? He's probably gone off to walk his dog or something. I've seen him in the chat. I'm going to try and I'm going to see if I can find him on here and add him to our call. This may not work.
Before you cut me off then, we have the CPPS 7-man on the 19th and the 20th if you go.
I've cut Matt off. Did I just cut you off?
Yeah, if I don't get this advert in, Aaron's is going to actually kill me.
Go on then.
So 19th and the 20th, CPS 7-man. It's, I think, up to Division 3 on the Saturday and then Division 3 up to Elite on the Sunday. We've still got some spaces, so Elite is booking. And also, Lucky 15s trials are on the 27th, which is the week after. If you think that you're not good enough to join the Lucky 15s, trust me, you are mistaken. We will take anyone on for next season and make it.
Carry on filling.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Dexter on.
So, So yeah, there's plenty of instances where we've taken like divisional players on and trained them up. We've plucked players out of let's say Alex Nancy, for instance, when he was 12, 13, hadn't even played for anybody, played a couple of tournaments maybe before he joined us. And he's gone right away through our system. Rob Williams again joined us when he was like 11 or 12. He's gone right through the system. Mason Hines, so there is no lower age limit. Well, there is no lower age limit. Book in through the Lucky 15's Facebook page or just email games directly. And yeah.
Sorry, I'm not listening. I'm trying to do this. Just carry on.
Your photography skills as well. I mean, if the PBM, I mean, what they do, what this man does for paintball selflessly is incredible. His paintball skills and his photography skills have increased so much in the last couple of years since I first started seeing these pictures. That, as I told you, outside the bakery in Chantilly. God damn you! So yeah, his skills have improved so much. So by his photos, and by his goddamn magazine, the amount of effort he puts in for zero return. It's guys like that if they leave this sport, then it'll be to a detriment to this community. And while I'm at it as well, UKPSF. For God's sake, will you please sign up and become a member of the UKPSF? And you had Ains on. What podcast was Ains on? Is it on this one or is it different? I can't remember.
Sorry?
Is he on a rival podcast?
Who? Ainsley? I think he spoke to the Planet Eclipse with Leds, or it might have been on the UK Paintball podcast with Joe.
Not wishing to push people to that podcast, but listen to that podcast with Ains, and he will explain everything to do with the UKPSF and the way that we are trying to make paintball a sport, and the way that we are trying to boost the UKPSF membership. So I think is it 1,600?
I believe so.
So please join the UKPSF. You may think that it's what for? I don't get anything out of it, but you are helping grow.
We want to get Leds on soon to chat about not only Eclipse and what Planet are doing next year, but also, obviously, for those that don't know, Leds is involved in the UKPSF as well to push the sport. And a lot of people kind of got caught off guard, I think, by the UKPSF. It's a bit of a red herring with this insurance and things that people used to go on about. Oh, I'm not buying it because the insurance doesn't do this or that. It's no longer really about the insurance. It's about trying to promote the sport in general and trying to get a governing body behind us. Because if we can get access to Sports England funding, it will just explode. I mean, whether we will get that far, I don't know. We've already, or the UKPS rather, have already got the ball rolling and got a scientific paper published to say that paintball is actually good for you. It's actually a sport. It promotes teamwork. It promotes cardiovascular exercise. It's good to get you out, and there isn't a competition element to it as well.
Just to interrupt, sorry again. If I don't mention every other photographer that goes onto the fields as well, as I've just
you'll be lynched.
Especially if I don't mention Ryan of Blitz Media. He'll just probably stab me next season.
You got Lucia out there doing the work.
Every photographer that goes on those lower divisional fields, please support them. They do it for kids. They do it for zero money most of the time. They're fuel. They're coming up to the events, taking photos, standing in the pouring rain, getting their equipment shot to shit. Support them.
Yeah, do it. Right. I'm trying.
Have you figured it out yet? Stop filling.
Well, it says Dex is unavailable on here. He says he sent me a wave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang up on you now, and we'll be back.
Yes.
Right. what we're going to do then. Dexter, are you there in the chat? Please add me onto Skype if you can. Let's see if we can get you on here now. Like I say, Dexter runs the Technical Problems podcast. Live stream, and the low energy live stream as well. And trying to get him is proving to be rather difficult. Let's have a look. Well, I've got a Daniel K on my Skype, and it says waiting for Daniel to accept my invitation, which he has yet to do, I believe. Let's have a look. No, I don't think he is on here. Let's see if we can call him on another. No, I don't think that's going to work either. Anyone else in the chat? Dexter, you are there. I know you're there. Oh, it had to be you, didn't it? You had to break it. No, don't think we're getting anywhere, guys. Right, I think we're going to have to end it there, guys. Let's call Matt back, I think. See if this works. Hello. There we are. You are here. There we go.
Hi.
Okay, right.
I can't believe you dumped me for somebody.
Sorry, I can't get Dexter on. So yeah, we'll have to call him back at another time and cut this live stream short, which is a bit of a shame. There's a couple of things I'm
here all night.
Yeah, I mean there was a couple of things I was going to go over with Dexter, but I think we can chat briefly about them. More of the scenario side of things. I think we pretty much covered it anyway. Paintfest, the fact that Paintfest are no more. Although MPF are still running, and then like I said, Clash of Clans unfortunately has cancelled as well, and it's just a bit of a kind of downer on the situation. And I was going to try and ask Dexter kind of what he thought the kind of issues are around that, and whether it is people going over to Airsoft. Although I'm pretty sure, casting my mind back to our ramblings about 20 minutes ago, we kind of already covered that aspect of things and how we're going to grow that side of the sport.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how it's possible, if I'm honest. Other than putting on more scenario games and getting people into the sport. I mean, I'd be interested to know exactly how many people walked straight into tournament paintball. I mean, I can't think of anybody that's actually just walk straight onto a tournament field. I think you could count them on one hand. Most people come through scenario, or most people come through the rental system and then come through scenario. Yeah. So how we get more people into the rental world, I don't know. How they advertise, do they need to advertise more people and get them to come onto the tournament scene? Yeah, I don't know. Do they want to? Do the rental places, do they want to do that? Or do they want to, the scenario section, do they want to keep their players? Because I don't know how many, I think it's a pretty rare thing that a paintballer that plays both sections, that plays both scenario and tournament paintball. When I say scenario, I don't really mean Woodland Masters. I mean,
well, off the top of my head, I know some of the underdogs do play scenario. Certainly, Mike has come out to a few of the Operation Medusa games and does play some of the larger games, and a lot of the South Coast Reapers also do. But you're looking at large teams, also Capital Killers, although they haven't gone into tournament as far as I know yet. They are in Woodsball tournament, and they are a big scenario team as well. But I think as these teams grow larger and larger, rather than lose players to tournament from a scenario team, you're finding that 5 or 6 guys will go, yeah, we fancy either doing both of that or exclusively that. And instead of setting up their own team, they decide to go, right, okay, well, like in the case of South Coast Reapers, they were a scenario team, then a few of them went out and did Woodsball, and then a few of them went, oh, we want to try Sup Air as well. So then they formed another team. And within that huge team, you will get guys that exclusively play scenario or exclusively play Sup Air. But I think you're right. I think the majority of the guys that attend the CPPS will only play that paintball. And again, I think it's affordability as well. It's the fact that if you do enter the CPPS, normally teams are 6 or 7 guys. I know some teams have 5, and they, because of that, they'll struggle at every event because people have stuff that comes up. But you've got to dedicate to 4 or 5 events a year. And if you're dedicating that kind of money and investment to tournament, what have you got left over for scenario and Woodsball and other events? So some people just don't have the luxury to attend everything. As much as they would want to, they can't. They got to kind of choose one or the other.
And from a like a rental site owner, do you think it's I know that I don't think people are reluctant to spend money in this country. I think it's just that they want a decent experience for their money.
Yeah.
The days of 2008 and people putting a season on a credit card because they can, they're just well and truly over. And I don't think that certain other countries that hold tournament events quite get that. That you cannot get a UK paintballer to pay £5,000 for an entry fee or £3,000 for an entry fee for 4 games of paintball. If you look at, I'll give you a rough breakdown of like a pro event or an SPL event for us for the 15s last year. You're looking at £3,000 entry, and then you're looking at hotels for 7 guys for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 or 5 days, and then a flight to a random place like Prague or Paris, or so it mounts up, and you're looking at least with your entry like 7,500 maybe for a pro event. So if it is unsustainable without massive sponsorship and massive help. So and if you're not getting value for money, or if you're not getting a good time for that amount of money, then people just aren't going to play in this country anymore. And I like to think that at CPPS we try and give them a good full day's entertainment and good value for money for what for their day, rather than just trying to fleece them for as much money as humanly possible in the shortest amount of time. Because then your customer base just leaves. It's as simple as that, really. I'm reading the comments. Facebook, sorry. So value for money, is a big thing for us at CPPS, and better weather would help that. More refs helps that. More refs on a field, it helps the experience.
I mean,
sorry, go on.
Just going to say the other thing is for people that may not be into tournament, because I know quite a few people watching necessarily don't follow the CPPS. when I mention tournament, I do kind of include the great work the guys are doing up at Skirmish, the 1-for-1. And there's several other venues out there that do have tournaments, and Warped as well. And they may not be on the scale and have the amount of teams that CPPS have, but if it's local to you, go along, go and play. If you can afford to do that, then do it. Because if you don't support those small local tournament series as well, they will eventually decide that it's not worth going ahead with and doing. And I know Ainsley and yourself are supporters of helping those guys out as well with advice and rule sets and things like that, and because a lot of those teams do go on to come into the CPPS and compete at that level as well.
Well, I mean, if you look a couple of years ago, you look at the UK, the league, feeder leagues that we had at Bricket and Wendy when she was around. We try and CPPS isn't the pantheon of all paintball for everybody. Some people may not like the site, some people may not like what we do, but you have to support your local sites like Skirmish, like 1-for-1, and support the events that they put on. Yeah, absolutely. It's crucial that those guys get attendances to their tournaments, because like we said with a scenario game that we could put on, if no one goes, then they're not a charity. Jamie's got outlays that he has to make down at his site, so he's not going to put on a tournament for free. If you put something on and people, this is the annoying thing, is that people will cry out on social media for different venues and different things and different events, and 10-man and 5 BPPS and mechanical master and everything else. People cry constantly for different formats, and then don't support those formats and don't support those events, and then they wonder why those events don't exist anymore, and they just disappear. That's because you didn't go. The guy's put an event on and he's had 3 teams turn up, and it's cost him more to put the event on than he has. So,
unfortunately, you see it. Oh, feedback there. Unfortunately, you see it with Scenario as well, where someone will put on an event at a unique location, and take a punt on it. Basically, loads of people online will go, "Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm definitely 100% going." It comes down to it, 20 people turn up, and the guy's like negative $3,000 in the bank, and it folds. And the next event, that person's decides, oh, it's happened again, and they pull the plug on it and say, sorry, it's cancelled. And then suddenly no one books into any of their games because they always cancel the games, and it's the same with tournaments. Like, if you don't turn up and support them, it just won't happen. It's just as simple as that. Is that human? Yeah. Is that human nature though? Do people just, do that?
I think it's the sort of phenomenon that is social media. Yeah, people, they build the hype up, they get on board, and then basically, they just don't turn up. Yeah, basically.
So what?
You're still feeling trying to find Dex, or
I am kind of looking over and see if I can get him online. What sort of a scenario game that would kind of, you said you didn't have that interest there, or that kind of fascination anymore. Is that just something that you just don't feel
that I would go and play, or that I would go and put on?
Well, no. So something both. What is there anything you would go, yeah, I'll play that, but not that, or what would be your ideal kind of game to put on? What do you look for?
Like I say, we have so many sort of brainstorming sort of ideas between me, Ains, and Dill. It sort of when PUBG came out originally, we before that actually became popular, we all played that quite a lot, and we were so close to having our own PUBG event. I mean, it was close to being
a battle royale.
Yeah, basically. So we were going through designs of props, that we could put out. It was that close to, to have boxes, to have ammo limit lot scattered around, and the amount of players that we could have, and how we would break down the game. Where those players would start, what sort of sporting system that you would have. Trying to get the amount of value for money out of that sort of thing, because battle royale, it's quite difficult. It's the same with most paintball stuff. You go out, you get shot in the first 5 seconds, and your day's over, or your game's over. So how we could sort of arrange that game, how that respawn sort of system would work, and like I say, we were really close to putting that sort of game on, but we didn't, because we didn't think anyone would turn up apart from all of our friends. So it's. But I remember, again, not wishing to mention the promoter at the beginning with S, they had some really sort of some good ideas when it comes to electronic flag systems and stuff like that. When I first saw those, in Charlie, I think Charlie at the Chocolate Factory, they had those electronic sort of flags that were instead of running in and and hoisting a yellow flag, you just run in and press the button and the light flag. Yeah.
I think they brought that into the UWL, I believe.
Right. Okay.
And they incorporated the UWL electronic flag switching stations too. Yeah. The chocolate.
Yeah, and that automatically counts the points for that, for the amount of time that flag is sort of been running for. It's so much easier than a ref standing there waiting for them to lift the flag, or did he lift it 2 inches, or has he actually raised it properly, or the ref literally has to look to see if he got shot before he does that. That's it. Yeah. That's all the referee has.
And another nice thing they did at the Chocolate Factory was the live updating boards. Now I know it was just overlaid JPEGs of who captured what area, but it was nice to wander into the safe zone and glance up at a big screen and see which flags have fallen into which area, just with a graphical representation. And that was kind of just a ref would get on the radio the guy in front of the computer laptop, and he'd just update the graphical representation of the field. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, again, as much as people like to slate Shoreline, but they did actually do some pretty, inventive things in the games.
Well, and it was inventive at that time, because players actually were at those events and saying, well, wow, they've got those sort of things. Something as simple as a light flashing when you press the button, as opposed to a flag, and I'm sure they had cases as well that were combination locks that you had to get combinations for, and punch the combination in and the box open, or whatever was in there, whether it be. And those are the sort of ideas that we had for the sort of PUBG game that we were going to put on, for extra, you had combinations and extra sort of ammo in these boxes and stuff like that, and Red Bull, cans of Red Bull and stuff like that scattered around, But it's, like I said, do you go down that road, or do you just go down the road of renting out a military base somewhere and putting on a small game there and getting 50 people, 100 aside, or whatever, and go down that road instead? It's the age-old thing, isn't it? We are not, or I would not invest, 10 grand into a game and that no one is going to turn up for. And it's, like I said, it's no good someone saying, if you build it, it will come, or I'll just do it and see who turns up. It's in this environment, at the moment, it's not going to happen. No. So the paintballers have it, people who play paintball have it in their power to make these games great, and yes, Dex, back his bills, yeah.
I still can't get him on Skype.
I don't know why. He's in chat.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh well, we'll get him on next week. It's not an issue.
Did we have anything else? What was on your list? Do we need to fill for another 10 minutes?
No, not really. Good. I mean, I was just going to ask Dex what he was going to attend next year, and how he found the Ground Central Classic at Paintfest, even though it was absolutely hammering it down with rain. It does seem to be that classic format is kind of you're laughing at the comments, is coming back in, and people are getting
I feel genuinely sorry for Kerry and Jed and Jeff. Every single year they put on MPF, they put on an amazing event in paintball, And every single year, it's in the first week in July, and every single year for at least one of those days, it absolutely pours down with rain. And like as an event organizer, my heart goes out to them. It really does.
I think
because I've known Kerry for 20 years, and she's a superstar.
Seeing, and I think it was the right thing to do to bring the main game to the Saturday. Have the piss up on the Saturday night and have like the mini games or mini games on the Friday and mini games on the Sunday. I think they did the completely right thing by doing that, and hats off to them for actually like going, no, that's what we're going to do. But I saw Kerry, and kind of, I think her spirit is just a little bit broken, and I think this is part of the reason why they decided, that's Paintfest done, and kind of, it's not going to come back. And I think they were just a victim of the weather. And I did speak to a lot of teams afterwards who said, yeah, it was really wet. I didn't enjoy it because of the rain. But that's not the game's fault necessarily. That's just weather, and you've got no control over that. So...
And talking about the free bar stuff, I remember I remember Diamond Wars, the first, when it wasn't Paintfest, when it was the first couple, and they had a free bar on, and USDE won Diamond Wars a couple of occasions due to the fact that HMC couldn't get out of bed on a Sunday because they had so much. That was one of the mitigating factors in their wins, is because they were just basically still pissed. So yeah, you either move the piss up, you either move the free bar to a Friday and keep the game on a Sunday, or you move the game. They did the right thing, absolutely.
Right, one ditch attempt.
Do I need to fill still?
Don't think so. Right, let's. I know this is very irregular, but I'm going to try and.
I'll just point out these technical issues aren't mine.
No,
for
not,
the referees that are listening.
Not your technical issues at all. He did pop up. I did see him pop up on Skype under a different name, so but he disappeared again. Let's see if I can call him, and then we'll add you into the conversation. And people are probably.
Right, I'm going to get another drink then. If that's the case.
You go get a drink. I'll be back. I don't know how to get rid of you now.
Cheers.
Hang on.
I'm still here. Do you need me to fill still?
Yeah, go on, do a bit of fill. Oh no, I've hung up on him now. Okay. I don't think Dexter's there either. Let's stop that down there. Let's see if we can get Dexter online. If not, we'll call Matt back and say goodbye, basically. So let's bring that one up. Give him a call. It says it's ringing. Dexter, if you are there, please pick up with your... And I'm getting no video from him at all. Ah! Hang on. Bear with me 2 seconds. Add source. Not ketchup. Streams. Hello.
Hello.
There we go. Right, we have Dexter here. Well done. You're here finally.
Well, I have been messaging you.
I know. I'd just completely blame you. And it'd probably been a good idea if we'd actually set this up like 10 minutes before we actually went online, rather than halfway into to the other call. Let's see if we can add Matt in.
Cool.
It might work. It might not. You know how these things go.
Yeah. Now. Right.
Right, are you seeing it?
Right, there we go. Yes, I can see the call, and I can actually see me on screen.
Wow. Oh my god. It might actually be working. Oh no, there's two of you now. That's not good.
Well, the moment I go anywhere near technology, even if it's somebody else's, things break.
Yeah, they do. Never mind. Right, well, Matt, I'm going to try and add you back in, but I don't know if it's actually going to work. So let's try this. If not... Oh, hello. I think...
Holy shit.
I think... Is it going to update on here?
Oh.
Are you there, Matt?
Oh.
Three-way call.
We have... can you say hello, Matt?
Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so we do have Matt online as well. I think most people have probably decided to quit by now. There we go.
Yay!
Right, let's put Matt here.
Whoa.
Look, you can go there in the middle.
No, don't want to do that.
So small.
Because you've had your moment of glory.
Hour and a half.
You just got to sit there in the corner and behave now.
Okay.
Right, is everyone settled now? Can we begin part 2? Half an hour overdue.
Well, I'm good. I've still got most of my drink, so.
I think Dexter's already drunk. Right, so
I'm not even drinking alcohol.
Yeah, right. If people don't know, Dexter does the Monday night's technical problems broadcast. Thank you very much. And he also does the Wednesday night low energy live stream, which we are big fans of. And I do pop into the chat normally.
Thank you.
Monday and Wednesdays. Mondays, I'm absolutely knackered editing photos from CPPS. And Wednesdays, I'm pretty much fed up with editing photos from CPPS and want to murder people. So I'm not particularly active or talking on the live streams, but I do listen. Now, I've been stalking you today, Dexter.
Right.
Your first video was the 21st of November 2013 on Facebook.
Right.
You started your live streams on the 14th of November 2018. What is it about the off season that makes you want to suddenly start videos and live streams? You just bored?
Seems so, yeah.
It just end of the season, so he just decides that he's going to start that. I think the highlight for me, just having a quick flick through your videos, was you falling off of your bike.
Yes.
If you haven't checked it out, go to his YouTube channel and watch Dexter falling off his bike. It's hilarious.
Yeah. That was the first time that I ever tried clipless pedals, and I'll unclip one foot and leant the other way.
Yeah, and he fell over. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear him swearing and everything. So, as three live streamers, obviously Matt live streams to CPPS, and he's got like 6 cameras, switching systems, GoPros, and there's us two who sit there with literally 1 camera, 2 laptops, and don't always get it right. You know,
I have those 6 cameras. Probably only 3 of them work though.
Yeah, granted, but you got backups.
And one of them's upside down all the time as well. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but on a GoPro Hero 7 Black, if you mount it like upside down, you cannot switch that signal back round again if you've got it all converted through SDI. There is no setting. It doesn't matter what settings you put in that camera, it will not change the viewfinder. You can set the viewfinder around whatever direction you want, but the camera, the actual, it will not switch. We spent hours trying to sort that fault out at CPS.
We have the same issues with just the camera on top of our monitors. To be perfectly honest.
Yep.
So how you do it, I got no idea. I mean, what?
If anyone. if anyone owns a GoPro Hero 7 Black and can tell us, hey, you can do it on all the other GoPro models. You can do it. It's fine. It's not a problem. You just turn the camera around that way, and then you can just set it to switch. But on the Hero Black, it says that you can do it, and you can't. I mean, GoPro, if you're listening, I mean, the chances are not. Let's face it. But if you're listening, please get in contact.
GoPro are not listening. I can pretty much guarantee that GoPro are not listening to this live stream.
You might be surprised.
I would be very surprised. If they are, can they please advertise in the bloody magazine? Because I could do with the revenue. But
they're about to go bankrupt anyway, apparently, so yeah.
Oh, so I'm not going to get support on me GoPro 3 then?
Probably not.
No. Don't buy the Hero 8. Yeah, they're in major debt.
Yeah, well, it's all being bought out by China, which we're not going to talk about China. That's I'll be shut down on YouTube if I talk about China. I'll be blocked in every country.
Don't mention DJI.
Don't mention the protests.
So, what this one to Dexter really? What makes you want to live stream? Because it's really not easy.
Yeah, as I've been finding out progressively more and more. Live streams, it's all well and good making YouTube videos, but you can sit and spend hours preparing stuff, and you can upload it, and it can be the best video in the world. But even there's the same amount of people might watch a YouTube video as watch a live stream. Especially when you're a smaller creator, and you might only get a handful of views either way. But you can have a little bit of interaction when you upload a YouTube video. That you can have a few people will post comments and stuff, and that's generally where it ends. But when you do a stream, it's so much more interactive. You can sit and you can build a community. You can sit and actually talk with people. You can discuss ideas in a much simpler fashion. It's almost akin to sitting down and actually having a conversation with somebody. It's not just, here are my ideas, deal with it. It's, here are my ideas, now what do you think about it? And part of the whole thing with us, when I started doing live streams was, especially with the technical problem broadcast, that came about because I just thought, well, I'll get a few of my friends on, and we'll sit and we'll start discussing some of the issues that are going on with paintball. Things like, can we put our knowledge together of the paintball industry, or the paintball scene, should I say, as opposed to the industry, and can we come up with any ideas on how things could possibly change, how things could be better? What can we put forward to sites that might make them think, this is what we could do? It's a lot more interactive.
Yeah, I think getting abuse in real time is. The
problem with that though is that it's only as good as the audience that are participating. So you can advertise these live streams as much as you want. I mean, without wishing to say, if the questions, if there's a ton of questions in the chat, about Elite Paintball, about CPPS, about NXL, about people need to get involved. I mean, it's what gives you the content. It's what makes the content good. Is that interaction with, whether it be on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube. But if people aren't interacting or sending you questions internally, for instance, for your guests, then what do? You actually just have, it makes your job a million times harder for us. And you're stood there basically just waffling, otherwise, or hoping that you're going to get good content out of one of your guests. If we had an army of questions, with 20 questions to me about, putting me on the spot, for instance, about the 15s or about paintball or referee decisions or or CPPS, etc. Why we do the things that we do? Then the content is a million times better. So I think it's getting that people involved.
This is why we put up the guests, and I think this a couple of nights ago when we interviewed Nikki T, and this one again, these ones are kind of wheedling out the technical difficulties, which obviously are going to happen because I haven't done this before. And Dexter, you all know about that, and Matt, you all know about that as well. And then the backlash abuse when you're not getting it right, and it's like, well, I didn't know this was going to happen, or it was going to crash. And then from there, it's kind of building that audience and getting those people, like you said. If I can line up guests for not next weekend, because I'm looking at doing these live streams every other week, and then putting a pre-recorded video in between and getting questions, and I can go back over this and people may catch it at a later stage, and there could be a very interesting comment there, or something that could spark debate that then we could put in the video that we could discuss the next week. But you're right, it's only as good as the guys out there watching. Now, I don't know how many. I think we've got 8 people watching on Facebook at the moment, which isn't, that isn't groundbreaking by any means. But like, this is literally the first one, and we hope to grow it and make it better and get more people involved. And as we get slicker, as the format gets better, and we get set up properly, and and then it might grow. But without people like yourselves actually going out there and doing it and trying it, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I honestly think there are, especially in paintball, there are doers and there are sayers. And there's loads of people that say, oh, I'll do this differently, I'll do it like this, I would do it like this, but don't actually get off their asses and create the content. They don't actually get their asses and put on a tournament or form a team, or they just don't do it, but they're quite happy to sit back and kind of keyboard warrior criticize people. So it's hard out there, guys. It's hard. It is. So I mean, hats off to both of you for you both be doing it for longer than I have as well. And it's just difficult. So I have questions for Dexter. Now he's here. We haven't got a huge amount of time to rattle through them, but I just wanted to ask you what highlights.
I actually give answers as well, unlike me, which is like, when he asks you the questions for what players, don't just mention 15 different players and then not give him an answer, which is what I did.
Waffle on for 10 minutes and then not give me an answer, and me go, and that was. So firstly, like, what games did you attend this year, and kind of what stuck out as a highlight for you in the scenario, kind of, and obviously Grand Central Classic as well?
Yeah. I think this year we played Ancaster Leisure Speed Weekend. Well, I played Ancaster Leisure Speed Weekend. There was the GCC, and it was Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah.
Yes. I've had a great time at all events. Unfortunately, I didn't get to actually play very much at Heroes versus Villains because I just poor organisation on my behalf. But my highlight of the year was probably GCC. It's been a long time since I've been on a tournament field or anything like that, or anything close to a tournament field. So it was great being able to go and play something like that again. Be it the fact that I'm about 5 stone heavier than I was last time I was on the tournament field, and a lot older, and not as good of a player as I once was. But playing Grand Central Classic was brilliant, apart from obviously the rain, which can't be helped. I think he's obviously mentioned weather earlier on, and it's Britain. What can you expect?
Yeah. I mean, the BZ Grizzlies did for a more or less, I wouldn't say a scratch team, but you had a team of guys that hadn't played together before, and to get through to the kind of sort of semi-pro kind of bracket, as it were, and do consistently well is kind of a testament to you guys as kind of players, really. To be able to just be thrown into that, and then it was good to see so many guys that hadn't played Woods Ball or that format for years and years and years coming out of the woodwork. Obviously, Matt will know Anthony and Marshy. Those guys are all out there playing. Ronnie from Mayhem as well was there. Obviously the Preds, and there was just loads of guys there that are kind of
Yeah.
well-known figures that decided to turn up in the torrential rain for this tournament.
Yeah.
So was the GCC like a lower BPS format then, or was it?
It kind of was. Well, I mean, it was based off the whole sort of 5.5 mech format. So if you were shooting an electronic marker, then yes, it was capped at 5.5. But if you had just a mechanical marker, it was as fast as you could pull the trigger, which did lead to. There's been a few who had laughs afterwards. I got speed checked on a Planet Eclipse E mech. There was one of the other lads on my team on the Grizzlies. He got accused of ramping with an E mech. But yeah, it was just the 5.5 sort of format, which I do think it seems to be running really, really well at the moment. And when you're playing against the guys that are using tournament markers, it definitely slows them down, but there's a lot of those guys do still have the skill level of being able to play regardless of BPS. Still be able to just lean out and take a quick snapshot and land those hits.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think there was a lot of the guys that were using mechanicals were compensating by the fact that they could actually fire faster. And for example, me and Albert, one of the other guys that I do the technical problem broadcast with, we were joking the fact that we can probably pump faster than 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're not going to be as accurate. It was good.
The whole sort of do not get me onto ramping and skill level and there's no skill level because you use a marker that can ramp and just let's not go down that road because this podcast is going to end soon and I will be here until 2 in 4. Yeah. So then you can have like a massive the discussion regarding ramping and semi-auto and looking at fields, not training fields and just turning up on the day and there's no skill the skill these days is the players these days aren't skilled because they can't turn up on the day and play the field, and stuff like that. That's a whole nother podcast.
Oh, yes.
Because in my view, there is no skill in being able to shoot a paintball gun at semi-auto. We have got a 7-man coming up next week, and it is uncapped semi. And I get more complaints from referees and players about overshooting on uncapped semi than I do ever through an entire 5 seasons worth of guns ramping. And the reason for that is the person behind the trigger.
Oh, yes.
Because the vast majority of people, well, no, hold on, I can't say that because I'll destroy my bandmates and probably the series. But it's about trigger control at the end of the day, and a lot of people don't have it. They just don't have it. So, and if you're trying to mug somebody out or run somebody down with a ramping marker, well, you're not going to be your marker isn't in ramp when you mug somebody out in tournament paintball, Whereas if you're in semi-auto, you don't have that safety of not going into ramp.
I think
a ramping marker is inherently safer than a semi-auto uncapped marker, and
the issue. Just to stop Matt on his rant there. I think the issue with scenario players with ramping is the fact that you've got guys that don't play tournament, that don't play woods ball, that are maybe new to the sport, go into a scenario game, take their marker up and have it on like 30 balls per second ramp, and off they go into the woods. Merrily shooting rec players and wall-conners, and because they got a space gun, they like to call them, and they're getting shot up, they're suddenly like, oh, all tournament players are like that. And you're right, because I've seen quite a few of the Lucky 15s play at Mayhem and Paintfest, and it's trigger control. Once they've shot them out, they're like, okay, let's move on to the next person. They don't generally put 20 balls into them. So and I did see the guys at the Grand Central Classic definitely shooting faster on semi, than obviously the guys stuck on 5.5. But then again, I saw some of the Lucky 15s as well playing with 5.5, and arguably their skill set was and the sandbaggers were there playing as well. Their skill set was probably on a slightly higher level.
Yeah, exactly.
So it did. I think maybe at the Grand Central Classic it did kind of balance it out a little bit. The fact that
let's not beat around the bush. Let's be controversial. It is used as an excuse by poor players or inferior skilled players to try and bring a higher skilled player down by saying that they can't read the field or they need a gun on ramp to be decent, because they need to shoot 100 paintballs at somebody in order to shoot them. Whereas the guy who's on uncapped semi is shooting 10 times more paint at somebody in order. A guy on uncapped semi is not standing there shooting one ball at someone to try and get them out.
Well, that was
nonsense.
When I was when I was playing all the time, and I was actually playing tournament ball myself, I could hit around about 22 balls a second on uncapped semi. And most guys that I know that play tournament, or in fact, I think I could almost put money on most guys that play tournament have got their mark. I said 10 BPS capped ramp from playing like Millennium sort of setups.
Most of the players inside the 15s don't even know how to change the settings on their gun.
Yeah,
they come to them in NXL mode at 10.5 with 5 sustain, and they don't touch them for the entire from the time that they give them to the time that they sell them.
Why would they need to?
Because if that's all you're playing,
well, they don't need to.
Why do you need to?
Yeah, they don't need to.
It's actually I just talking about the trigger control though. That's exactly why I play pump, because I have no trigger control. If I can only pull the trigger every time I pump the marker, I can't shoot too much.
Depends how you. No, let's not get into that. So you.
So do you think that? I know Nicky T's doing a lot of stuff with the 10-man hyperball stuff. Do you think that that return to larger fields, 10-man, slower BPS, sticking a load of drainage duct in on a field is what people want going forward in paintball? Or do you think that there's a place for that in the market, or is it just a fad that people are just going to, for the people that remember it, 20 years ago, that are still playing? You could probably count them on one hand. Do you think that the new generation of people coming into paintball are going to accept that format? They're going to accept 10 people, 10 aside on a bigger field, with a load, like I say, a load of drainage fittings and 5.5 PPS.
Yeah, I think right from yes. I think there's a massive desire. I mean, it's drawn players that haven't played for a long time back into paintball. We saw that at the GCC. Now, yes, I can't say that this will not be a fad. It entirely could be. But I do think there is a lot of players that are seeing this. And when you look at it, if you go on YouTube and look at paintball videos, aside from stuff like, say, like the Hidden Hedgehog, Alabaster Slim, the big guys, most of the really sort of popular sort of paintball videos are from when paintball was played on, like, you're seeing things like hyperball fields, and you're seeing the old school style of paintball where people are using old angels and they're using cola cockers and auto mags. A lot of that stuff are big shockers. The shocker by 4x4s and things like that. When people are seeing those, that's kind of what they look so awesome. And the way that Tony stuff is played now, it feels so good when you're on a field. And when you see the montages and stuff, yes, they are really cool. Like you see stuff like they get that HK put out, and those videos look amazing. That we've got some brilliant producers in this country as well that are starting to produce content along the same sort of lines. I mean, Nicky T is starting to put out some fantastic stuff as well. But it's when you watch the sort of the tournament side of stuff, it doesn't. I can only speak for me, but it doesn't feel the same as watching some of the older sort of stuff. But maybe that's just because I like old school markers as well.
I think the kind of return to the classic Woods Ball kind of format. I think it's. I wouldn't say it's slower. Well, it is slower paced than tournament, like Sup Air. But I think because of the larger teams, because of the ability to move around, and the woodland environment, or the classic field kind of bunker setup with the big hyperball kind of tubes, you've got the ability for guys, again, and this is kind of echo what Nicky T said the other day, you've got the ability for the guys, maybe 3-4 of the guys out of that 10-man squad can be completely new to the sport. They can never have picked up a gun, and just thrown in, and that team can still podium and do well. And those guys arguably can learn more in that than if you chucked 2 guys in a 5 or 7-man squad on a Sup Air field. They'll probably get destroyed by
You mean someone who isn't as fit, let's say, for instance, as physically fit, let's say. You're talking about the bigger, a larger, bigger sort of guy.
The larger guy, or necessarily just someone that's never played before. That's kind of gone mental.
I genuinely do not want to say it's for the fat bloke at the back. Which a lot of tournament paintballers teams still have. I distinctly said I'm not saying that.
What's that meme? What's that
Tony,
meme that came out?
For God's sake, put your face back.
No, that meme that came out, it was like when your back player doesn't, and he's throwing a pod at them and going, "You ugly walrus-looking."
But what I think we're trying to say is it's more inclusive.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to be a 20-year-old.
And I think this is why you're seeing the guys that played 20 years ago, or 15, 20 years ago, that maybe have dropped out of the sport because they had families, kids, and things like that. And their kids are now grown up, and they're either playing alongside their kids, and they're returning to the woodland, and they're going, well, I don't want to play tournament because I'm not up to it. I'm not fast enough. I'm not as fit as I was. That's for the younger guys. Arguably, again, there are still guys in their 40s, 50s that play tournament and quite well. But they can return to the woodland in an inclusive environment, still be competitive, still be taking part in a team where it's one team against another, and one team is better because they won more points, and still podium and things. And they can feel included without having being tubby and 5 stone heavier than they were 10 years ago.
And if they're bringing their children along, they're bringing their kids along, and it's more inclusive, like you said. That they are the future of paintball.
Yeah, then if their kids decide they want to go off and play tournament, they can go off and play tournament. It's not an issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
that's it. I mean, it is a great step into tournament play. Do you need the changing rule set though? Why can't you just have a hyperball field, and 10 man at 10.5 BPS with ramping? I get the format changes, but I don't understand the rampant fascination of changing the gun rule sets as well. Because to me, I don't see the difference. To hazard a guess, I'd probably guess it's something because you can pick up electronic markers very cheap. That's well established now, especially if you're looking at the second-hand market. But you can pick up, say, an AMEC and a PAL loader for, I believe, around about 215 quid at the minute. You can pick that up. That is a marker that was. I tried one I played with one at the GCC, and also played with it at Lancaster Leisure Speed Weekend. Absolutely fantastic marker for the price. I think it's brilliant at low end, and even if you want to play high end, you can with it, providing you're only playing something that doesn't have a cap. Now, you could go out and play something like I could have gone out and played something like the GCC with a 98, and I wouldn't have had to worry. And you can pick up a 98 for 40 quid. So I could go and play a tournament with a 40 quid gun. But I don't have to worry about capping it. I don't have to worry about anything other than making sure that gun is working. So now, yes, I believe you could play something like the GCC. There could be an electro division But I think it's a case of, like I said, you can, if you want to take your kid along, you can pull a 98 custom out of a kit bag, out of the shed where it's been sitting for 10 years or something, and go, there you go. Or you can give them your nice shiny gun, cap it at 5 balls a second, and you can go and play with a gun that's cost you like a little bit more than a box of paint, and have a fantastic time in a competitive environment.
I think Dexter's right. A part of it comes down to price, and you couldn't do that at a tournament. You couldn't compete even Div like 5 with I don't know. Actually, I saw someone playing Breakout with an Ion the other day and an Ego 5. So you could.
Yeah, but
I take it back.
They still shoot at 10.5 and.
But I think what it comes down to is just purely choice. I mean, if people want to play those events, they can, and if people want to play at a higher rate of fire, they can play UK Woodland Masters. But I do agree with Matt that maybe there doesn't need to be a different sort of rule format. But I just think it's down to choice.
There definitely doesn't need to be.
They've just chosen to do that, so and people have signed up to that format. So,
do you think that are they when you're reducing down to 5.5 or making it semi-auto? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to shoot less paint? Are you trying to slow people down? Are you trying to make the gaps larger for people to run through?
I think the argument.
What is it you're trying to do? Because making it semi-auto against a ramping gun, against 5.5 balls per second going through a gap between 10.5 balls per second going through a gap. And the larger guy that we were just talking about, to be more inclusive, he's not going to get through that gap, regardless of whether it's 10.5 or 5.5. That he's not Neo. He's not going to make that. Now, there may be less paint in the air, I guess, but the difference between semi-auto at 5.5 and ramping at 5.5, or both at 10.5, well, like I said, I don't subscribe to the lowering the BPS from 10 to 5 or ramping to semi makes the game either slower or faster in that respect. I genuinely don't think that extra 5 balls a second going through a gap that's a meter wide, 2 meters wide, is going to allow that larger player or allow someone to get through that gap. The only thing that will slow games down, that will slow the speed of games down, is to limit their paint. That's
the hill format.
This is something I actually looked at for a classic classic and pump game. One or the other was to introduce like a tournament where you pay one price and your paint is included for the whole entire event. And part of the game is paint management. Is to go right. We can fire uncapped semi or capped ramp or whatever. But if I want to do that, I might not have enough paint for the finals. So part of that game and part of those skills are paint management and restricting your players to... And to be honest, I think the only thing that would really slow it down is that kind of mentality of, okay, well, I could unload all of my paint into that bunker, or I can pick my shots and try and eliminate someone. I mean, would that... Are you kind of saying that limiting the paint in that kind of format would be better than limiting the balls per second?
I think that the focus is in the wrong direction in that sense. I think too much focus goes on to the BPS and the semi and the ramping and everything else argument. I think there's too much focus on that, and there should be more focus on the amount of paint, because that is the only way that you slow a game down. Because and the M500 experiment in tournament paintball is a perfect example of that. The games did slow down. They didn't slow down for the first 30 seconds, but the problem is that after 30 seconds or after 60 seconds, the game slowed down to a grinding halt. That was the problem with M500 a lot of the time. So it became even more boring to watch. So the whole point of oh, you had like faster moves and faster games, and people made more sort of chances, and they dived more, and like they had more of a chance to get through that gap, so they took that chance. That's nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. There is no way, like I said, that a tournament player is going to get through a gap that's 1 meter, 2 meters wider because there's 5 BPS coming at him rather than 10 BPS coming at him. It's just not true. And the difference that M500 gave you was that you couldn't sustain your lane for long enough. So you would shoot your lane after the initial break, you would shoot it for maybe 15, 20 seconds, and then after that, the lanes died down, and that's when the movement started. But like I say, that wasn't a BPS thing. That was a you didn't have any paint left thing.
Yeah. I think it maybe harks back to the fact, and this may be kind of, I'll draw a line under it here because we could go on all night about this, and I don't want to. But I think it comes down to the fact that those were the firing rates back in the day before Electros came out, and that's what these guys that are returning to the woods want, and that's what they want. That's what they're going to go and play. And if they want to do that, that's the game they're going to attend, maybe,
or not.
The thing is, I think focusing on the ball cap is the wrong aspect to be looking at when it comes to things like the GCC. Now, I agree. The difference between firing 12 balls a second, 10 balls a second, 5 balls a second, it might be feet, it might be inches between balls when you're actually out there playing on the field, but that's not what is really the important aspect of it. I think it's more when they're limiting the tournament markers to 5 balls a second. I think it's more because the 5 balls a second, even at 10 balls a second, if you've got a full pack, you can sustain 10 balls a second for an entire game lasting God knows how long. You can just sit on the trigger and you can walk there if you've got ramp on or something like that. I think the 5 balls a second is more to sort of bring things down to level things out. Then you've got the people that are shooting. Maybe you might hit 20 balls a second, let's say, firing a mechanical. Say it's something like the GCC, but you are not maintaining 20 balls a second on a mechanical for any length of time. You've got to be really good on a trigger. I mean, maybe it's with some of the really high end stuff that Eclipse is putting out that you can actually walk. But a lot of the stuff that you can get ridiculous rates of fire out of, like I think it was the Legacy mod for I believe it was for the G-Tech, where that basically you just took your board out of your marker, dropped it in the Legacy mod, and it gave you a mechanical marker that you could get 20 balls a second from walking. Yeah, okay, with something there, but things like RT triggers, Legacy mods, all that sort of stuff, they've been banned from a lot of events like the GCC, so you can't even use them. So you're looking at massive high rates of fire, potentially with a mechanical, for very short periods of time, and very long sustainable periods of time on electrodes. It balances each other out, and as I said, it's going back to the sort of, you can go and play something like the GCC. I could have played the GCC with a pump, and I believe that reasonably, I would have performed not that much different.
It still gets shot out in the first minute.
Yeah.
I mean, to answer like Mark Sharp just put a comment in saying that wouldn't larger fields and less bunkers slow the games down a lot easier? Yeah, but then it would probably just be boring as hell to watch. I mean, but what are you trying to achieve here? I mean, it's a fine balance, isn't it, between trying to make things exciting to watch or making things exciting to play, or keeping costs down. I mean, if was there a pod limit at the GCC, or could you take as much paint as you wanted?
You could take as much out on field as you wanted.
You could walk onto a GCC field or onto a 10-man hyperball field with 12 pots and shoot at 5.5 cap semi or uncapped semi on a mech marker.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I mean,
and that is somehow supposed to level the playing field between a ramping marker at 5.5. So that makes no sense to me at all. I don't see how that would level the playing field.
Anyway, Can we let's move on from 5.5 because we're gonna.
Did you have another question?
We're gonna be here all night. My God. Right, Rexy UK again. I don't know who's his director to. I think it's directed Dexter. What games are you going to be playing next year?
If there's any more GCC events next year, I'd like to play those.
Again, that's dependent where it's going to be held, because obviously we now know there's Paintfest has been cancelled. So, yep, I'm pretty sure GCC will be back. Whether it will be at the same venue, whether is undecided yet. But yeah, GCC.
Other than that, I haven't really got anything penciled in. I think the beginning of next year is probably going to be difficult for us if we're trying to get out and play. Maybe it's towards the...
You can come and rev.
I don't think I'll even be allowed out the house. But yeah, the first part of the year is probably going to be a bit limited for us. I might be able to get the occasional walk-on in somewhere local, but that's going to be about it. Later on in the year, I'm hoping any tournament events I can get to, GCC events, sorry, and I'm maybe Heroes again next year, because I actually want to get out and play this time. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't really give much of a definite answer to that one yet.
Oh, okay.
Just got to see how things go.
Well, for me, I'm not going to be playing much next year, but I will be attending pretty much all the big games. Mayhem, North versus South. Obviously, we've got our own Reds versus Blues game. Stalingrad's coming up in a few weeks as well at Ballswood Skirmish. That's a freezing cold, muddy game.
I went to Stalingrad about 5 years ago, I think it was, and I've never been so goddamn cold in my life. I mean, if they're trying to reenact, Soviet 1940, whatever it was, then yeah.
The Russian front.
It's a great game because it throws my nabs off.
Yeah, it's one of those games that's end of year. It really is the last game of the year for scenario wise, and yeah, it's been chilly. Actually, last year wasn't too bad. It was cold, but it kind of stayed dry, and it was sunny spells as well, so that was quite nice. But when it's absolutely bucketing it down and with hail, and it's like -2, and people are like knocking ice off of the netting, that's when scenario becomes not that fun. So yeah. But yeah, we've got some exciting things planned. Some things I can't announce yet, unfortunately, but we'll be looking to go abroad. We're also attending, hopefully attending the very last D-Day, Oklahoma D-Day. Have you heard of that one, Matt? It's Dexter. Heard of that? Yeah. Huge game. Used to be the biggest game in the world. I attended for 3 years, like 10 years ago, 3 years running.
Haven't they sold the land that the site is on? Isn't it being redeveloped?
I think they've sold part of it, but part of the reason is one, the declining numbers year on year. I think they've sold part of the land off, not all of it, and yeah, I think they're just turning into a different direction with regards to what they're using the land for. But that's been seen across the board. There are declining numbers everywhere across the board for scenario events. That's not saying that there are less people playing. I just think there's more choice in games now than there was 10 years ago, and people have spread across a larger area because there's more people putting on more big events, basically, and people can't afford just to go to one. So we'll be attending that last year, probably for the last one. It's going to be a big event, I would imagine. A lot of people will be attending just that haven't been for years, purely because it's the last Oklahoma D-Day. So yeah, we're organising a trip out to go and do that one. And yeah, then we don't really know what's happening with regards to the magazine or photography necessarily next year. Got to replace equipment and bits and pieces, but that's for me to decide and speak to the powers that be, and yeah, find out what's going on, really, get some funding in. That's almost impossible. But yeah. I think that's going to be it. I'm going to quickly, and they have to be quick. Don't do a Matt Carver on me. We'll go through. Have you got nominations for scenario teams or Woodsport teams, Dexter? You want to go through those, or?
To be honest, I'm not the best to ask for stuff like that. I just turn up to events and try and play hard and say hello to people while I'm there and then leave.
And leave. Okay, so you're gonna you're gonna decline the nominations for fear of reprisal. If you don't nominate,
he's taking the fifth, don't he?
Yeah.
I don't want to be accused of favoritism.
Yeah, you can't nominate BZ Grizzlies for everything, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lastly, I think we're gonna come to a close in a second. Are we ever going to see you on a sup airfield, Dex? At any point?
I would love to.
I'm sure. Sure, Matt will find a position for you. You know, if you come in for the breakout day, and he'll give you a job reffing, so you got some money to take home with you. There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Play breakout on Saturday, ref on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, it's a long time since I played CBBS, so it would be nice, but yeah.
I mean, we have in the breakout division, we have wider start gates, you know, for the
portly
larger, slower person.
Wider start gates for the portly gentleman. Rude. You can't be horrible to even Richie Wong's like giving him abuse in the chat.
Yeah, that's standard. He is evil, Rich. So
he is quite evil.
The thing is, I just need bigger home bunkers. That's all.
Look, we don't design the fields and we don't design the bunkers, unfortunately. You know.
What about, Matt, if we use the old W as back centre?
That would be perfect.
Snake corner, massive W.
I mean, in breakout, you know, who knows what could happen next year?
Anything could happen. Well, I'm going to wrap it up now. It's 10:30. It's way past my bedtime.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, finally, for joining us, Dexter. Sorry we didn't get through everything, but
I tried.
Partly Skype. I'll give you the wrong Skype details, and we got there in the end. Thank you very much, Matt.
I like this 3-camera arrangement as well. We maybe a green screen behind each three, and then like the three of us could be like, you know, Jurassic Park sort of out on the back or something. That would be good for next time.
Well, Dexter's got a pretty good background on him. Mine's just a messy desk.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Photo of the year, whatever.
But yeah, I mean that's one of the things.
I can't nominate photo of the year. Oh, why would I? Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't win it, can I? That would just be favouritism. Anyway, thank you very much, Matt. Thank you very much, Dex.
No worries. Anytime.
Apologise to everyone at home. Thank you for sticking with us. End of the podcast live stream. We've still got 8 people watching, so that's an unprecedented win for our first one. Thank you for everyone commenting in the chat, and I guess we'll see you next time.
Catch you later.
Everyone say
love
bye.
You, bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.